What's up, y'all? It's your boy SimplyFoodByTy, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make some bomb strawberry crunch cupcakes. So get your notepads ready, honey, because it's about to go down. Alrighty, you guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the crunch aspect of these cupcakes. So what you're going to use is a 3.4 ounce package of French vanilla jello mix. Now, you can use regular vanilla, it doesn't necessarily have to be French vanilla. To that, you're going to add a half a cup of all-purpose flour. This is a pretty standard recipe that kind of everybody uses to make this crunch. And to that, half a stick of softened butter. Definitely make sure it's soft so that you don't have to work as hard as I had to get this crunch down. Now, if you want, of course, you could start off by using your fork just so that you can slowly get it incorporated, and then eventually you'll be able to use your hands. Now, what you want is for this to kind of end up like the texture of sand. You don't want to break it down too much, but you want it to be nice and grainy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer this to a baking dish with a silicone baking baking wrap here. That's going to help prevent it from burning. So I definitely feel like that's key. We're going to do the same thing with the strawberry. Half a cup of flour, 3.4 ounces of strawberry jello, and then of course the half a stick of butter. Repeat, do the exact same thing again. And then we're going to be transferring that, of course, as well to the baking dish. If you aren't able to find a 3.4 ounce thing of jello, do just like I did. I got a big thing of jello and just used half of it. So now we're going to transfer that. And then you're just going to take your hands and just give it a little mix around. Now you do want to make sure that this is nice and even, so that it's nice and flat all the way around, so that it kind of all bakes at about the same speed. Doesn't really take long to bake this at all. I would say have the oven on 350 degrees. It's not going to take any more than, I would say, 6 to 7 minutes at most. You must keep your eye on this. You do not want to burn it. If you burn it, you're going to have to start all over again. So just keep an eye on it. Like I said, pop it in the oven at 350 degrees for roughly about 6 or 7 minutes. And then what you're going to do is you're going to let this cool, because I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it. As soon as it comes out of the oven, what you don't want to do, it's going to be nice and hard. You don't want to immediately break it up like this, because if you do, it's not going to crumble the way you want it to. It'll kind of just turn right back into a grain of sand. What you want to do is let it sit untouched for at least, I would say, 30 minutes. Then it'll become very, very stiff, and then it'll break up completely just like that. And then you'll have the nice, big chunks of the strawberry crumble. By the way, it smelled heavenly in my house. So now let's work on the actual batter itself. Y'all know I love swans when it comes to making cupcakes. So I'm gonna add in 2 1/4 cup of cake flour. I'm gonna add in 1.5 cups of granulated white sugar. I'm also going to be adding in some baking powder and baking soda. That will be 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I'm also going to be adding in some salt, which is a half a teaspoon. Just give that a little mix around so that when it's time to go adding it into the stand mixer, it'll already be ready to go. Now, the little secret ingredient that I use in this recipe is the strawberry preserve. I'm going to use the seedless kind. Now, to me, this is going to give this a very natural strawberry flavor, so definitely give it a try. So to this, I'm now going to be adding in roughly about 1.5 sticks of butter. To that, I'm going to be adding in 3/4 of a cup of the strawberry preserve. It's going to seem like a lot, but it really isn't as much as you may think it is. You're going to let that cream for just a few moments, just until that butter and the jam has really incorporated nicely. And then once that kind of gets to this kind of consistency here, that's when we're going to go on ahead and we're going to start adding in the egg whites. Right now, what I'm adding in is the buttermilk, and that's 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 of a cup of buttermilk is really going to help with keeping your cupcakes nice and moist. If you can't find buttermilk, you can use regular milk. That's completely fine. Now, what we're going to do is now we're going to start adding in 4 large egg whites one by one. Now, I know this might look like this is turning really hectic, but trust me, it's just the process that it goes through. Now, you're going to start to slowly add in your flour mixture with the baking powder and the salt and all that. You want to add it in little by little so that the batter can remain nice and smooth. By the way, if you don't have a stand mixer, you can absolutely make this recipe by hand with just a regular hand mixer. That's completely fine. Honestly, the key when it comes to cupcakes is just making sure that you're not over mixing. That's typically how you end up with really tough cupcakes, because you've overworked the gluten in it. Now, once you start to see that your batter is nice and smooth, take it out of the bowl and just finish it off by hand, just to make sure that everything's incorporated, and then you're done. Don't keep mixing it, don't keep playing around with it, because then what's gonna happen is it's just gonna become a mess. Now, if you want it to necessarily be pink, you can add in food coloring, but I want this to be as natural as possible. Trust me, that strawberry flavor is nice and pungent. Now, of course, for our cupcake liners, we're gonna add it about 3/4 of a way. They are gonna rise up a little bit, so you don't want to fill up too much, because then it'll just make a mess. So I'm just gonna repeat that process for all of these. Now, I'm going to be baking these bad boys in the oven. I would say, you know, have your oven preheated at about 350 degrees. It should only take about 18 to 19 minutes. Get yourself a toothpick and check them out, just to make sure that you're not overcooking them. Once they're warm enough to the touch, transfer them out of that baking pan so they don't overcook. Now let's work on the buttercream, honey. Now, this is a simple, easy buttercream, but I'm telling you, it's bomb. So you want 2 sticks of unsalted, softened butter. You're gonna cream that. To that, you're gonna start adding in the confectioner's sugar, of course, the powdered sugar. Now, you're gonna be adding in 5 cups. Now, I know that might seem like that's an excessive amount, but it really isn't. This is the perfect amount of buttercream icing, and I'm telling you, this icing is bomb. You wanna get yourself like a towel, or if you have the base that wraps around your Keurig, not your Keurig, your stand mixer, you can use that as well. Now, I'm adding in a tablespoon to about 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream and a 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla. You can also use vanilla bean paste as well, and just give that a mix around. Once you can see that it's nicely incorporated, turn the mixer off. Don't over whip it. It's really, really easy to make, but it is absolutely bomb. This is good on cakes, anything, honey, okay? Now, what you want to do is once you start to see that it gets nice and stiff, just like this. Wait till I lift it up so you guys can see it. See, as you can see, that's not going nowhere. That is the perfect consistency. You've just made yourself some buttercream icing from scratch. Now that I got my assembly line ready, I got the strawberries, I got the icing, the crunch, and the cupcakes themselves. The cupcakes cooled for about, I would say about 30 minutes or so. You want to make sure they're completely cooled. Now, you don't have to pile on the icing, nor do you have to try to make the icing look perfect, because you're going to be putting the crunch on the top, so you really won't see the icing anyway. Just make sure that you're getting it all on the edges, and don't feel like you need to pile too much on. One of the things that I love most about this recipe is that these cupcakes are actually not overly sweet. And what will help that is by not piling on too much of that icing. Then you're just gonna roll it around up in that strawberry crunch as much as you want. You can, once you crumble up your strawberry crunch, you can make it as big or as you want. If you really want it to stretch, really grind it down by hand, nice and fine. But to me, I like being able to see like the kind of bigger chunks. So that's why I don't make it completely fine. I did that by hand, by the way. I didn't put it in a food processor or anything like that. So I'm going to show you guys this one more time. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I'm doing well. Hope everyone's staying inside and staying safe. As you guys can see, this is a very, very easy recipe. It's not complicated to make. They're absolutely bomb. And also a little trick. If you wanted to, if you have yourself like a syringe or something like that, you can get yourself some strawberry jam and inject it in the inside of the cupcakes, which is also fabulous. Now I'm going to take my strawberries that I've, of course, previously rinsed off, and I'm just going to sit it right on the top. Don't try to press a hole into the cupcake. It'll sit on there nicely. Try not to get ones that are way too big, though, because aesthetically it just won't look good. And there you have it. You guys have just made yourselves some delicious strawberry crunch cupcakes. Look, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you are new to my channel, welcome to Simply Food by TY. If you're one of my returning subscribers, well, y'all babies know I love y'all so much. And I really do hope that you guys try this recipe out. I'm telling you, it is bomb. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye.
Slaying in the kitchen.
Simply Food by TY.
We hope that you enjoyed it.
Simply Food by TY. If you haven't took the time, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching Simply Food.